Hello, it is I, Vorii. Welcome to the VRCLens panel, VRCLens 103, VR photography versus IRL photography. As you can see, that's me, Vorii. I'm pretty. I look like I should be on a brochure somewhere to a retirement home. Thank you for coming, everyone in the audience and on Twitch. Let us get right into it. As you know, as I said earlier, I'm a photographer. I take photos in VRChat, like these ones you see up on the screen. This is just a small portion. I also take commissions for magazine covers that you can get in VRChat as well. We got our friend Simon over here, Pixel D in the middle, and another friend Abby on the right. All very pretty, as you can see. I also do videos in VRChat. I did a video for the community showcase that you might have seen last night. I've done videos such as these that you might have seen on my Twitter if you follow me there, or on my YouTube. That top right one is for Furality, because I also help out and volunteer here as well, so you might know me from there. And I also now do IRL photography, as you can see. We got photos of the very nice and lovely Gale, and some purple on the right, and that's my boyfriend on the bottom left, and another friend on the bottom right. Very happy to take all these photos, and as you can see, I have credentialized myself as a photographer. Now, the topics for today's panel, as I said before, are VRC photography versus IRL photography. And we're going to go over things such as the similarities and differences between the two, what makes VR photography, and what makes IRL photography much more IRL. We're going to go over the benefits and downsides of each in both settings. We're going to go over, we're going to compare the two and see which one is worth focusing, if there is one worth focusing more on and one that's not so much worth it. And we're going to have a Q&A at the end. And this time around, instead of doing questions from the live audience like we did the last two conventions where I did a VRCLens panel, all the questions I'm going to take at the end are going to be from Discord. So if you have any questions at the end or during the middle, you can go to the Furality Discord and look for the channel that's, I believe it's called VRCLens Q&A. It's under events somewhere. Be sure to look out for that if you have any questions. And just a little side note before we get started into it, everything that I discuss here is my own personal experiences. I've been doing VR photography for 3 years, just about, and I've been doing IRL photography for about 1 now. So everything that I'm about to discuss here is based off my own personal experiences, and that's pretty much just get that out of the way. So some people might have different ideas or different opinions to when it comes to photography. I am in no way an expert. I am just someone who likes to take photos, and people like those photos, so I like to inform people about taking more nice photos. Let's get started. Is VR photography actually a thing? And I'm here to tell you that it is. There is a nifty little app or add-on that you can get called VRCLens. It looks like this. It's a nice little mod that you can get for VRChat, and it gives you all the nice little functions of an actual camera. You've got things like aperture. Those are something my photography friends, my people who are in the know about photography will know. Aperture. You got exposure. You got zoom, things like that. All sorts of nice little things. It even has a drone feature. So, if you don't want to go buy a $1 billion drone, you have a nice little hovering drone in your VRChat. Now, this is, like I said, a mod. There is also, once you get VRChat, it comes free with a VRChat camera, which is, it used to be not that great, but now it is very upgraded and it's almost comparable to VRCLens. Actually, in some ways, it's better, but we'll get into that later. My point is, VR photography has many different types of cameras that you can use, just like real photography. Virtual reality provides players with the ability to simulate real-life movements, like I am currently doing right now. I am doing this in my bedroom. And in like most video games where you're stuck in, kind of like first-person shooter, you can't really control your movements. In virtual reality, it's possible, which makes taking photos extra great. Lots of players have models, like myself, which they invest lots of money into, and they want to show it off, which means they want photos, and that means you should take photos, because photos help them show off their models. It's just like fursuits IRL. You see all these fursuits, people posing for photos, looking cool and stuff. It could just be like that in VRChat. Got all sorts of model creators that love to create models for players, give them out, and then there's bases that other players can edit, and then they've all got a wide variety of pretty, colorful, fantastic models with all sorts of cool features, such as, and I'll demonstrate just a cool little feature. Got things like this. People love showing off their stuff, so photography gives them a great outlet to show off their stuff. So yes, VR photography, just like real photography, is a thing, and it should be expressed. Some similarities. Oh, are they closed? That's great. Now they're open. I can see what I'm talking about. Some similarities. Up you see in the top left, that is Milo the goat. He's in VRChat, but on the bottom left, he's in real life. Some similarities. There are, of course, many between the two different types of fields of photography. Both involve cameras, obviously, but there are many different types of cameras, features, and settings that you can set to customize your camera and your photography experience. There are things like, I showed earlier, VRCLens, like this, the VRChat camera. There's also VRCLens and many others. In real life, you got brands such as Canon, Nikon, or Sony. Both include settings such as focal length, aperture, brightness, etc. There's a whole depth and guides on how to use them. There's master classes on photography. There's ways to there's tutorials to show you how to set up VRCLens. They cross over in many different fields. Both settings allow for many different types of photographies to be taken, such as both of these are very similar types of photos, more upper body. You can do landscapes in VRChat. You can do portraits, all kinds of things. There's no limit. They both have the ability to encompass a wide variety of different types of photography. And like I said before, cameras have lots of settings. IRL cameras are very complex, and they take a lot of time to learn and how to control. VRCLens is pretty similar. As you can see, this top left menu is just for setting it up. That's crazy. I did not know how to set that up, and it took me for a few months to figure it out on my own because I didn't look up a video like a smart person. On the bottom left, there's a guide to how to use VRCLens that has come out more recently that'll help you guide you through the many settings it has, just like cameras have manuals. This will help you figure your way out through your own type of virtual camera, so you're not really that confused. They both encompass this kind of making it easier to use these complex cameras. And many of the photography skills that maybe you come from first conventions in like FWA or Vernal Equinox, you can take those real camera tricks you've learned and you can implement them into VRChat. Myself, I did the exact opposite. I started in VRChat by taking many photos of friends and got into it like that. And I decided, hey, I'll try it in real life. And now I take photos in both. Many skills can be transferred over, and they can be coming from YouTube masterclasses on post-editing or guides on how to set up aperture and focal length. They all collide, and they all can mesh into one big field of photography. And just like a real camera, it needs maintenance every once in a while. VRCLens has updates every couple months. A real camera needs to be constantly cleaned, make sure it's not broken. If it's dropped, it might stop working. So you can take it to a repairman and get it fixed. VRCLens needs to be updated sometimes, and sometimes it just doesn't work, and you have to reset it, and you have to re-put it into your Unity avatar. Very similar in a lot of ways. But there's also some differences. While the similarities are vast, there are also some key differences between the two fields of photography. While the VRCLens in VRChat has settings for aperture, which is kind of like making background blurry and keeping it crisp, there is also exposure and focal length, but they do not interact with each other. Let me explain. So, in real life, when you use a camera, you have three settings that are important. You have the exposure, the aperture, and the ISO number. And I'm not going to really explain what all those are, but they all affect each other. If you were to turn the aperture to a higher number, as you see on the left, the image would be brighter. And if you lowered the aperture number on a real camera, the image would get darker. And then you'd have to compensate by raising the ISO or the exposure. A lot of settings that kind of mesh together, and you have to work with one to work with the other. In VRChat, those settings are completely different. With VRCLens, you have the aperture. I like to call it the make the background zoom or make the background blurry function. It does not affect the brightness. Just like the brightness does not affect the exposure. That's the same thing. There's no ISO number in VRChat as well. There is no need to set that. So when you're setting one setting, you don't have to worry about the others. So in a way, VRChat is much easier when you're taking photography because you don't have so many variables to worry about. That's all I talked about there. Also, in real life, we have this neat little thing called matter. We collide with each other. Our arms can't go through each other, and we can't walk through walls. But as you can see, In VRChat, my arm likes to go through this little desk here, and they can go through each other, like this, kinda. As you can see in this clip, my little staff I'm holding goes through my tail. In VRChat, there's also eye wandering, where your eyes will look off in one direction, not where you're actually looking, and it's different for every player's perspective. In real life, your eyes follow where you're looking. You control your eyes. My body's going a little crazy here, so let me reset it. There we go. There are many differences in VRChat and IRL photography. And this is one of them, obviously. Let's talk about some benefits. Virtual photography, it's easier to maintain. Like I said, you don't have to pay so much money, and you don't have to really clean or know the inner workings of a camera. You can just update it. And if you know how to use Unity well, it makes it much more easier. And there's also guides and tutorials on how to set it up, and it's much more easier to maintain than it is for an IRL camera, in my own opinion. It's much more cost effective. Obviously, I'm pretty sure VRChat is still free. I believe they added a payment thing, but that's only if you want to. And it comes with a camera. You get this camera for free. In real life, if you want a starter camera, it may cost around, 50 to 100, 200 bucks. Real cameras get much more expensive. Even drones, those are way out of my ballpark. I'm broke. I can't afford stuff like that. So a benefit of virtual photography is it's free. It's much more cost effective. VRCLens costs, I think, $5, $10, somewhere around there. Much more cost effective. Photography and post-editing, all can be done in your pajamas. I do all my work where I'm standing to my computer, which is over here. That's where I do all my VRChat work. In real life, I have to go to conventions and fly places. That's a lot of traveling, and I get very hot when I'm outside. There's endless possibilities in VRChat. Like I showed off earlier, I can't do this in real life. I can't just make a laser sword pop out of my hand. I can't turn it into fire if I really want to. This is all because of a cool little model maker that did this for me. I don't have robot arms IRL. I don't have access to beautiful Furality Aqua in real life. There's endless possibilities in VRChat, and if you can find the right places, you can make some amazing stuff. And let's talk about some benefits of non-virtual photography. There's much more of a scene, obviously. When you go to cons, you see all these people with these big cameras and they're taking videos, and you see all these YouTube videos of it. VRChat, while it has a scene, not as out there as real life photography. Real life photography, you can make a living off of. You can get commissions. You can do videos and people will pay you. You can make YouTube channels and content and all stuff like that. You can do that in VRChat, but there's much more of a scene for it in real life. Like I said, there's money to be made. Professional photographers, Professional photographers are a real thing. In VRChat, not so much. I may take commissions every once in a while, but it is more of a side hobby. I don't make a career out of this, but if you can, that'd be kind of cool. But it's, in my own personal experience, not really a viable career path. Real photography, though, it's where the money's at. Best place to learn about photography from others. When you go to real conventions, like I went to Furality Equinox in Toronto, I met many other photographers who showed me some tricks and some tips, and they gave me some advice about photography. That is by far the best place to learn about real, actual photography. Going to conventions and getting out there and meeting others who are doing the same as you. And, of course, there's no frame limit for real life. Your eyes aren't capped at 60 frames per second. I don't know, that might be, You can, like I see my hands right now, they're clearly framing because I'm at 30 frames a second. When you're taking videos, you want a nice, kind of clear 60 frame per second video, right? In real life, that's much easier than it is in VRChat because it depends on so many factors such as how many people you have, what the world's like, is your computer exploding, things like that. Well, there we go. Now let's talk about some downsides. Virtual photography requires one of these things on your face right now if you're in the live audience. It requires a virtual headset, or if you have desktop, I guess you don't have a virtual headset, but it does kind of require a virtual headset. You can take photos from desktop, but it's much more, easier, kind of accessible is a good word, to do it when you have a system. You can get much more in there than you could when you're just kind of like stiff-armed and doing the VRChat desktop dance all the time. Model clipping and eye wandering, like I mentioned before. Our models like to go through ourselves and do stuff like this. Wow. My arm doesn't do that in real life. But if I was doing this in a video, it wouldn't look good. And I don't think anybody would really, they'd be like, wow, what's his arm doing? VRChat has a lot of these. VRChat can be buggy, it can be crazy, it can be insane. Your eyes can go like whoop and it looks really funny. In real life, we don't really have that problem because we have matter and things like that. Laws of physics. And it's not nearly as popular as IRL photography like I mentioned earlier. I wouldn't suggest a career path going to VRChat photography. Like I mentioned, I've done commissions. I'm still doing commissions at this convention, but I'm only making a few money to, to get some nice little video games that I like, or, some extra clothes. It's nothing you can base your life off of, is what I'm saying. VRChat is fun. It's a great way to meet people and to take photos and have lifelong memories. But as a career path for photography, I wouldn't suggest it. You can try. I'd be so happy if you did it. But as someone who's done it for 3 years, not enough to live off of. I can't eat ramen every night. Non-virtual photography can get very expensive. Much more, like I mentioned before, VRCLens has a drone feature, which you can get with VRCLens, which costs only $5. A real drone, I don't even want to think about how much it costs. It probably costs it costs me, myself. I don't think I could do it. I have a computer that cost me almost my house, and, I ain't trying to get another drone. Much more of a learning curve than VR photography when it comes to operating a camera. Like I mentioned before, there are a vast amount of cameras in both VRChat and in real life, but in real life, it's much more developed, is a good word. You have these huge cameras with a billion buttons on the side and wires that go somewhere in computers and people setting things up and things like that. VRChat, we have this little neat camera. I don't know if you can see it, but the basic VRChat camera. We have the VRCLens, which has a lot of features, but nothing, too crazy. It wouldn't take you more than a few days to really get a handle on. So real life photography, much more complicated and requires a much more learning curve. So if you're really dedicated to it, it'll take some time and you never really stop learning. And there's no private instances or instant world traveling. You can't just drop down a portal, walk through it, and then be in the luxurious beaches of Final Fantasy or something. You can't just walk through another portal and end up at a roller coaster at Disney World. You have to travel to places like those in real life. You don't have instant teleportation, or you can't set real life to private and you get people coming up and walking in between shots and things like that. In VRChat, it's much easier to set up a photo shoot and, go to all these fantastic places. You don't have to block people or traffic guard from walking in, like tell them to come and go and stop and wait, I'm taking a photo. It's much easier to get all this done in VRChat. There's some extra notes I wrote down after writing some stuff. If there's anything I've learned when it comes to photography, it's that you're a traffic guard, like I just mentioned, especially when you're on sky bridges. If any of you have been to conventions, maybe you've been to, off the top of my head, Furality Aqua, they have the nice sky bridge connecting the hotel to the dealer's den. A lot of photographers like to stop and hang out in there and get photos, but it's also a high traffic place. When you're a photographer, you're bending down, you're getting ready to take photos, and someone walks in between the shots. So you're like taking a shot, and then people are waiting for you to take the photo. You take it, you get up, and you tell them to come along. When I was at Furality Aqua, that's all I did for 5 hours. I was just there, click, click, come on, left, come up, cards, next, come on, snap another photo, come on. Just something that I've realized that is a important part of photography as well, is making sure that you're kind of like controlling the crowd and people know what's happening. You don't want your first shooter to pay you for a commission. They walk in the middle, they get their shots ruined by someone walking in the middle, and then they're not happy. You want your photography, your subject to be happy. When getting started, take action. Don't just wait. Tell people whose avatar suits, etc., that spike your interest, that you want to take pictures of them. That's what I did. When I got this camera for the first time, this regular basic one, not this new one, but the old VRChat camera, I would just go into friends' worlds and bug the crap out of them. I would just be like, post for photos. And then eventually, I started becoming the photography guy. So whenever people needed whenever people needed photos, I just came along, started snapping pics. And then I saw, hey, there's a cool little mod for it. There's VRCLens. And when I found out I had a drone, I made my first video. People like that. So I was like, hey, this is kind of fun. So I just started doing it, and now I'm giving a panel at a convention. which I never thought I'd be doing, but here I am. Just take action. Take your first step out there. Photography is waiting for you. Just get out there and do what you want to do. Don't let anybody stop you. And most people are very nice, I promise. They'll actually love it if you take photos. They spend a lot of time and money on avatars like these for you to come and take photos of them. So go take some photos of some people. And always move at your subject speed. Like I was mentioning before, when people were, you're taking photos of someone and people are walking in between and they're not happy. Maybe they want to move somewhere else, or maybe you're like guiding them and they're not really getting it. You want to go at your subject speed. Basically, make sure they're happy. Always make sure that your subject is happy. You don't want them to commission you, have the courage to come up and say, hey, I really like your stuff. Can I get some photos from you? And then you're like, of course. But then you're like rushing them and you're taking them all these places and they don't even want to go to these places. Ask your subject what kind of photos they would want. You might be excited to take photos of their avatar and you might have ideas in your brain. But if they're commissioning you, they are your customer. So let them guide the process unless they want you to help guide them. When I'm giving commissions, a lot of people ask them first, what kind of theme do you want? What kind of pictures would you like? And they say, I'd like a beach theme, a pinup maybe, some fantasy stuff. And that's great because I have some knowledge of worlds to show them. And I'll show them all these worlds and they'll be like, yes, I like this, I don't like this. Let them decide for themselves what kind of speed they want to go at. And then you kind of help guide them along. That's an important part of being a photographer. Getting into photography, kind of transitioning into what I was talking about. It sounds like a cliche. Just do it. Like I said, I was annoying for the first. I literally would just go into worlds and scream at people to get into groups. Follow me, group over here. We're going into group photos, and they would do it. Even sometimes they wouldn't do it, but when I got them, I would just go around and get some like real photos, and I'd show them afterwards, even if they didn't like know about it, and they'd be like, "Yo, that's so awesome!" And then they'd save it. Some would make them profile pictures. Things like that. You can get into photography however you want. It's it's a very nice field to get into, especially if you enjoy taking photos and videos. Get into it. There's videos and guides on beginner recommended cameras, tutorials, and just getting started into it all over YouTube, all over the internet. A lot of resources just to get into photography. So don't wait. Start doing it. It's great. I love it. I've loved it for years. Maybe even start up a website or a portfolio. As you can see over there, I have a website at Vorii.photography. That's Vorii.photography. I sound like one of those infomercials. You see we got all these lists of VRChat subjects. We got Pixel D, got Tokyo, got Drake over there, got Sherbert on the right and Shale. All these people that I've done over the years. And on the bottom list, there's some videos over there, my old videos, such as Last Call and things like that. It's great. You can show off some of your work. Your work is great. Show it off. Even if you don't think people will like it, do it. I'll like it. I love photos. Someone will like your stuff. Be proud of your stuff. Be proud. Look at YouTube videos of photography masterclasses and tutorials. There's a post-editing software called Lightroom, which I use to post-edit all of my photos. Those photos don't look as pretty as they do now without Lightroom. You don't have to post-edit, but I would recommend it because post-editing is great. It makes them look extra special. And there are tons of masterclasses on things like Lightroom and photography in general. I used tons of masterclasses on Lightroom to get into making photos look these pretty. Just to brighten them up, make sure the contrast is nice and the colors pop out. I didn't just, pick it up and start doing it. I looked at videos and tutorials and guides and started building my own style from there. And you can too. That's where it all starts. If you love taking photos, don't stop. No matter what anyone says. I always say this at my last panel and the panel before that. Whenever you do photography, make sure you like your work before anybody else does. Because if you don't like your work, it's going to resonate with other people and they might not like your work. You should always like your stuff and get it out there. Don't stop taking photos if you're into photography for anybody. If you enjoy doing it, do it. It's great. If you enjoy making videos, even if you post a video and it gets like no attention whatsoever, that's fine. The videos are great. You're expressing stuff in VRChat, which is great. I don't know if you saw the community showcase last night. All those videos were fantastic. There were some short, some long, some emotional, some that made me wet my headset for the fourth time that night, which I was not a fan of, but thank you for doing it anyways. There were some cool action scenes. There was some cool everything. It's a great way to express yourself, and you should express yourself no matter what. So don't stop. No matter what happens. If you enjoy it, do it. Just do it. Like Do it. Just do it. And don't limit your photography. That was something I said last time as well. It just kind of meshes in with what I was saying. Just don't stop. You have so much inspiration in this world, in this game, in this community, in this convention. There are so many ideas just waiting for you to come. And if you're out there taking photos, don't stop. Keep going. It's great. Don't limit yourself. You're great at what you do, and you should be proud of it. And you should take more and more photos and show them off to everybody. Send them to me. I love looking at everybody's photos. I love this community. Please send me your photos. Please. It's great. Now, is VR photography worth it? Let's think about that for a second. Of course it is. That's a stupid question. Don't think about it. It's dumb. I've been playing VRChat for almost 4 years. That's a pretty long time. And I only got into VRChat because someone made a post on Reddit about a furry VR club. And I was like, that sounds kind of cool. I'll log on to VRChat and desktop. And I got in there, met all these awesome people, and it spiraled into this, me getting a headset and what I'm doing today. I have this cool little model that my boyfriend made for me. And I got all these cool little features like this robot arm that my friend made for me. It's great. And now I'm doing photography, and I'm taking photos of everybody's pretty models. I have two folders of 50 plus gigabytes of VRChat photos. That's not a joke. I wish I could show it, but I'm kind of nervous. I would show it, but it's from 2018 up to now, of just me taking photos of friends and doing photo shoots and editing them and repasting them and copying them again and all sorts of things. That's spiraled out of control to this huge ass folder that takes up so much space on my computer. It is awesome. I'm telling you, one of the greatest experiences to go back through those folders years later and just look at all those times with your friends. You should do it today. You should look back if you have folders of VRChat photos and just go through them and remember all those times with your buddies and stuff. That's why I do it. That's why I love VRChat photography, because you get all these awesome photos that you can put into a montage and then show your friends and make them cry. I love making my friends cry, and it's great. While I don't really recommend trying to live off of VR photography, like I said, there's definitely money to be made. Like I said, I have a booth here at Furality Aqua. I had one at Furality Legends, and I have a commission list of people now that's almost full. And I have work to do now, and it's some money to be made. Few $20-$30 per photo shoot, maybe 50 for a magazine cover, but I can't live off of 20, 30, 50 bucks every few days. I have to get a job. I have a job. I can't just do this all the time. I'd love to. That's a cute little photo. I'd love to live off of stuff like that, but I can't. I have to get a job to support my hobby. This is a hobby. If you're a professional photographer, that's great, and if you're living off that, even better. But photography IRL is already a hard profession to live off of. VRChat photography, extra hard. You can make content and videos like that. There's people such as Whiskey Dingo. There's Sherbert, and all sorts of people who stream and do live streams, and they kind of like that. Discussions, VRChat chat. I think the channel is called Chat or VRChat or something like that. Discussion, something like that. They just talk in front of the camera. That's fine. If you can make money off that, great. But just if you have to make it a hobby, that's fine too. Just don't stress about it. Just enjoy it. It's something for you to enjoy. It's enjoyable. We like to enjoy it. Let's start with some closing words now. When it comes to photography and filmmaking in VRChat, there's no real right way to do it. Like I said at the very start of this panel, I've been doing this for 3 to 4 years, and I still don't know what I'm doing. I literally have new ideas. I find out new things every day. And, it's just come to where I am now. The point of photography and films can mean many different things to many different people, expressing creativity and capturing these moments you want to remember and save on your 50 gigabyte folders, etc., etc. Or you want to submit a video to Furality Showcase because you're just awesome like that. Just do it. It's just a way to express yourself. And I would say don't limit yourself. Like always, just express yourself. It's great. Photography is fantastic, and so is video making. Just get out there, do it for yourself, and if people like it, fantastic. But if it makes you happy, that's all that matters. Just have fun with it. Get inspiration from others. Show people your photos and videos, and continue making them. Like I said in my Furality Legends panel, you can get inspiration from anywhere. I made a video for Tokyo and Shale, just based off music that I like. Not Shale, Sherbert. Not Sherbert. Tokyo and... I'm trying to make sure I don't mispronounce them. Let's say Tokyo and Ari, yeah. I heard songs, and I reached out to them, and I said, hey, I think you'd fit this song perfectly with this idea I have. And they said, okay. And then we made these videos, and it's great. Like I said before, always love seeing more photos and videos from the community. So please, I think that's my Twitter and my Telegram up there if I didn't misspell it. If you have nice photos or videos, send them to me. I get a few, last time I did this, I got a few photos and videos, which is great. And they showed me more, and we just started hitting it off. It's fantastic. I love looking at the community stuff. Last night at the showcase, fantastic. So much content from the community and virtual VRChat. It's fantastic. Just show it off to everybody. It's great. We all love what we do. We love talking about what we do. It's fantastic. Like, okay, I said that already. This will be, all right, let me get into this since I have some time. This is going to be my last commission queue for a while. For those of you who have followed me for a few years, I've been doing this for 3 to 4 years. But for now, I might have to take a break soon. I'm actually going to grad school. So this will be my last commission request for a while. So I've been thinking about getting the photo shoot for me. Now might be the time to do it, because I might not know when I'll be available again. I'm going to be away for a while. So now's the time. And I would like to say to all those who have followed me for those years, and to those who saw my community video last night and have started following me recently, thank you. All y'all's support has meant the world to me these past few days. It's helped me to get through a lot of crazy things that have happened in our life. So I want to thank you again. Thank you for coming to Furality. Thank you for exploring my booth. Thank you for watching my videos. Thank you for doing photo shoots. All those kinds of things. I appreciate all of you. I love all of you. And I can't wait to take more photos of your pretty models and just knock it out of the park with all these community videos and show the world, you know, we're here. We got us. This isn't just a game. We're a community full of VRChat players, photographers, furries, all sorts of people. And we all come together and make these creative and amazing things. And that's what I love about y'all. So thank you for that experience, and let me be a part of it. And with that, I think it is time for some questions. If you have any questions, please put them in the Discord, and I will answer them. I would just like to point up at Holly there. Look at how silly she looks. Look at that photo. That's a real moment photo. She didn't pose for that or nothing. She just was talking and laughing, and that happened. This is a prime example of photography that I love. Those real kind of moments when they're laughing and having fun. That's what I love. That's why I love taking. I found this just hidden away and showed it to her. She was ecstatic. I was ecstatic. That's why I love photography, is those moments when you just find these kind of like hidden away, and you can edit them, make them bright, and now she has it as a background somewhere. It's great. Now let me look at these questions real quick and see what we got. Oh, there's a lot of them. All right, what's the best method to take dynamic selfies? Oh, I'm not exactly sure what a dynamic selfie is, but if it's anything like the selfies I just take my camera and click like that. I just get all my friends like that. And if you have VRChat or VRCLens, even the VRChat camera has an anchor feature. You can just set it up, have people stand away, and you can take like a big group photo from where you are. You can just hold it in your hand, pose, click, and that's a photo. That's how I take all my group photos with my friends. I'm sorry, I don't know what a dynamic selfie is. I'd Google it, but I don't really know if I have enough time to Google it. Anything to avoid while taking photos in games? Can you do different types, lens types like fisheye? You actually, there is some tricks you can do with VRChat to change the camera. When you change the zoom, the focal length changes, and it gives you different types of effects. I'm speaking too fast. When you zoom out very far away, you get this whole kind of like converging thing. And if the focal lens is, what is it now? If it's a kind of a smaller focal lens and you come really close to the camera, it gets very distorted and it gives you that kind of fisheye effect. But if you're zoomed in, it gets all much closer together and the focal length increases and it gets less distorted and you look nice for portraits and things like that. What was the first part of that question was, anything to avoid while taking photos in game? I would just make sure your computer doesn't overheat. Like I said, VRCLens, not the most, optimized thing in the world. It does take a little bit off of my frames, but I would just make sure your computer isn't overheating. Close some settings that aren't, being used on your computer. Make sure your computer's not burning up. And even if you can't use it, you might need to upgrade to a better PC. That's fine. You also have the VRC camera, which is much more easier on your computer, and it still takes great photos. They updated this thing a lot. I actually prefer to take all my photos with the VRC camera nowadays and leave videos for VRCLens, because VRCLens has a drone feature which lets me move it from side to side. But with this camera, unless you're taking beyond or 1920 times 1080 photos with the VRC lens. It can go like 8K. That's crazy. My computer can't handle that. But if you can handle it, do it. 8K photos look fantastic. But for just normal photos with friends and, photo shoots, this camera's not so bad. It's actually really good now that they've updated it. Pretty pog. Please minimize comments. Oh, that's not what I'm still getting used to the game camera. How do I take videos? So if you open up your menu and go to the little camera, there is a stream camera next to photo camera. This camera takes the windowed version of your game on your computer and it makes it come out of this camera. So when you're streaming from here, this is what's showing up on your PC. And if you have OBS, you can make it record what's coming out of here. So you can do like live streams like this and you can point it at yourself and be like, "Sup, chat?" And that's how you do some nice videos. You use the stream camera, not the photo camera, to take videos. Photo camera just, pops up and you can take photos with it and send it to a file. Stream camera, you can't take photos with it, but it changes your perspective from your computer desktop app, I guess is the word. And it shows off what's being shown from the camera. And that's how you take photos. How do you find the worlds to take your photos? And do you have a preference on what you look for in a world? I literally, if someone says beach, I have a folder full of like beaches and space and fantasy now. If you're looking for a world and they have a specific word they like to use, just type it in the search bar. Type in, beach, water, space, nature. There's a lot of worlds in VRChat, and there's a lot of them that look very pretty. This world that our friend Holly is in, this is Memory of Bodlum. I think that's the name of the city from Final Fantasy X. And it looks great. Look at the sun. Look at the water. Looks fantastic. Let's see if there's another one in here. This one. Wait, there's a better one at the front. There we go. This world, I don't know what the name of it is. I found it by typing in sky. I literally typed in sky, and I found this pretty world. Doesn't it look great? Look how great it looks. I don't know if there's any more examples. There's another one from Memory of Bodlum on the bottom right with our friend Nuggies. Top left is I typed in pyramid, sand. That's where we got the top left one from. And the bottom left one with our friend TokyoZilla, they gave us the world themselves. They thought of the world, and I went with them, and they showed it around, and I was like, that's great, that's fantastic, let's take it here, and they were ecstatic with it. Same thing with Pixel D in the top right. Let's go back to another question. When do you think we can shoot in RAW in VRC, kind of like IRL? So like I said, I'm not extremely versed with, photography, but if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure there's a RAW setting on the VRCLens. If I go to settings, display, no, picture style. No, there's not a RAW. I'm not actually sure what RAW means. I'm sorry, but I wish I could help. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. I'll take a look after this and answer it for you once I do some research. Any recommendations for the best Furality Aqua photo spots? Now we got a question that I like. The lobby, please. The lobby's great. Lobby has the big tower in the background. Lobby has the fishes circling around in the little ledge gap that you can find. There's so many good spots. The dealer's den, for those of you who don't know, in the club, there's a little section. I think if you're facing the stage in the left side of the club, back left side, there's a little ramp you can go up, and there's a nice little cavern that you can follow. And if you go there, you can see the entire Furality Aqua Club world. It is awesome for photos. That's where I took a group photo last night, which I would love to show, but I can't bring it up here. It's great. It's fantastic. Even the dealer's den, the big lake in the middle with all the cool stuff above, it's fantastic. Everywhere in Furality Aqua is great. Take photos everywhere, please, and send them to me. Please send them to me. Tag them on Twitter. They'll love to see them. Trust me. Everyone in Furality Aqua loves looking at the photos y'all post. It's great. I've been doing convention photography for 8.5 years and had some interest in VR photography. How does attracting clients to your work in VR different from in real life outside of your portfolio? Do you have any go-to worlds for clients who don't know where to take photos? That's a really good question, actually. That's a very good question. So as far as attracting clients, I've only used Twitter. I've used Twitter. I've joined a lot of Discords, furry Discords to show off my stuff. I'm in my own furry Discord. I'm in a few others. I just want to name names, but I just post them there and I show them off there. And then, sometimes someone will be like, "Oh, that's really cool. Can you take some photos for me sometime?" And I'm like, "Absolutely." And I'll, direct them to my Twitter, to my website. And then, it's not as easy as it is, because there's not really like a place you can go in VRChat to say, hey, do you want some photos? Do you want some photos? Do you want some photos? I just go out, take them, get their contact info after, and then send them to them afterwards. That's how I do it in real life. I go to conventions. Whenever I get photos of someone, I say, do you have a handle? Do you have a Twitch? Do you have a Twitter? They give it to me. I write it down for later. I edit it, send them off to them for free. Just to get it out there. That's how I do it. I just do it. Just do it. Just take some photos. And then, just post them on Twitter and tag them and hashtag and all that stuff and make it show it off. I even did Instagram for a while. Instagram is where I got some of my commissions from. It's great. Not really a question, but as someone who has done photo and video for 7+ years and has Discovery Channel resume material, I long for a day when we can pursue a career in VR content. I don't see it happening anytime soon. Yeah, it's, VRChat is still kind of growing out there from the meme. People still kind of see it as a unicorn and knuckles and all that kind of stuff. That's how I saw it when I first started. But, we're getting out there. What is this now? The biggest furry convention that's ever happened, I think is what we're saying. I don't want to mislabel. Maybe it's the biggest Furality convention. We're getting out there, trust me. Maybe someday, but I don't think it's a viable thing right now. Definitely not for me. Not really a question, but as someone who... Oh, I already read that. Okay. Do you think that as the VR technology progresses and most people will be using VRChat, VR photography will become a viable career path? How do we get out of the water after your robot arm broke? All right, you people, my arm is fine. As you can see, thank you. I've gotten a lot of comments over that for the last few weeks. Few days. Thank you. My arm is fine. Like I said, not really a viable career path now, but if you want to do it, do it. Just do it. It's fun. I do it for fun, and I sometimes get money for it. I just do it for fun. I love seeing people's reactions to the photography. That's why I do it, just to make y'all happy. That's why I like to do it. It makes me happy when you're happy. Sounds cliche, but it's true. Haven't heard of VRCLens before. Doesn't have raw capabilities in post-processing like IRL. There are actually, I do know how to answer that a little bit. Not the raw part, but in VRChat, in VRCLens, there is picture style, and it has Filmic 1, Filmic 2, HLG, neutral, things like that. I don't know the real definition of those kind of things, but they make it look different. And then I edit them in Lightroom, and I make them look extra great. I don't know if it has really any post-processing, but it has the aperture and the exposure and, things like that, focal length that you can all change and things like that. But Lightroom is definitely the app that I use to post-process. I don't know about any post-editing in the camera, but maybe there's like the IRL, but I don't use that. I have a Canon icon. I don't use any crazy things like that. I just have a tiny baby camera. A Rebel, I think it's called. Where can I get VRCLens? That's a good question I actually should have put in the panel. I put it in my last two panels. You can get VRCLens if you type it literally into Google. It is a website that is, I believe it is operated at a country. But maybe it's not, I'm not sure. It's called Booth. That's the website it uses. And the person who sells it is called, I don't want to mispronounce their name. It's like Hibaraki or Hibakari or something like that. But if you type in VRCLens into Google, it'll be literally the first link that comes up. It is on a Booth website, and it is in Japanese. And you can translate all of it into English if you like. It has English settings for you, and you can pay for it there. I should have posted that somewhere in the panel. Maybe I'll post that in the chat afterwards in the discussion area. Booth. Yeah, Booth. He answered it for... Thank you, Basil, for answering it for me. With the nature of VR, I wonder if there's any forms of media you can create just flat photos and videos. Do you think things like panoramas and such would become popular in the future for VR dwellers? That'd be awesome. I would love to see panorama photography in VRChat like you do in the iPhones. You just kind of like scroll across. That'd be great. But I don't know anything that does it like that, so I don't know if it's out yet. Could be. Might be. I thought there was a panorama feature for VRChat already. I might be wrong. I guess there's not. But VRCLens doesn't have one, but that'd be kind of cool. I'd love to see stuff like that. I'm sure they'll make it. They're always updating VRCLens. It was much more simple when it first came out, but now it's got all these crazy features and settings and boxes like this. Let me get to it. Like that. All these crazy settings you can set before you even get in the game. Maybe. That'd be kind of cool. What is a nice starter camera for real life? And do you have any gain confidence taking photos in real life? Oh my God. The last part, yes, absolutely. When I started taking photos, I took it in VRChat and I went to IRL and I already had some confidence then, but just don't even, just go up, and if people are taking photos of furries, just go and join them. If they're taking photos, they're happy to get photos, but always make sure, just, ask, kind of like, just wave and be like, can I take photos of you? And you're like, yeah, sure, go ahead. Just, get out there. Just take that first step. Once you take that first step, it gets way easier. Trust me. And VRC is a great place to start taking photography if your confidence isn't up there. Because, It's not you. You're in a virtual body. You don't have to, you could be in your pajamas and ask them, and it's fine. I build up confidence here, and look how confident I am. I'm super confident. Trust me. I'm not nervous at all. Let's see. Oh, I got you, God. How much harder is it to take photos with people who don't have full body tracking? That's actually a very good question. I just had someone ask me for a commission in non-full body tracking, and it's possible. I should have posted a photo I did for someone. I did a magazine cover with someone who was in desktop. I did a magazine, one of these things, for someone who was in desktop, and I had them, do the VR lay on the ground. They did like the die emote, and when they did it, I just got them in that moment. And it looked great. It came out as a great photo. I'd love to post it, but I kind of, I forgot to post it. I should have done that. That's a great idea. I'll hold that in my head for the next one. But you can definitely do photos with anybody, even if they don't have full body. If they have half body, it's fine. They can move their arms. They can do cool poses. Doesn't matter. You don't need legs to do photography. Just do photography. It's great. I would say. It's okay. I appreciate you helping, Basil. How difficult is the integration into Avatar? Is in VRCLens? Not that hard. VRCLens is super easy to set up. They have a guide for it. Now, compared to when they used to do it, it was much more, crazy to get in there. But now it's much easier. Sorry if you heard that. That was very loud. What are some good worlds in VRChat to practice with VRCLens? I think you understand. Let me cough. That was a cough. Some good worlds to start VRCLens in. Let's see. Memory's great. This is a fantastic world. Memory at bottom. Type in Final Fantasy. Type in Beach. This is one of the first worlds to come up. It's also this world right here with my good old best friend Credible. It's also not that one. Not that one. Not that one. Not that one. I know there's another one in here. The bottom right one of Nuggies. Same world 3 times in one convention or one panel. Isn't that great? It's a great world. There are many great worlds to start. That's one of my favorites. Just type something in. You'll find many great worlds. You mentioned using Lightroom file. Are you exporting from VRChat to get the best results? I usually use PNGs. I'm not sure if it's the best, if it's, it's the greatest, but, it works. So that's how I do it. How raw image resolutions differ from... That's a very good question I should answer after this, but I'm not entirely sure what raw images are, so I just take photos. I don't know the technical details and all that. Is it possible to increase photo resolution in VRChat? I know there is VRCLens has higher than 4K. You can do 8K photos in VRChat. I'm not sure how it works because my screen is 1920 by 1080, so I don't think it increases. You can't just make more pixels. But there's a way. I'm sure there is. I know there's a mod to do it, but I can't really recommend mods, but I do. Just look it up. I'm sure there's some guys out there. I would love to help, but I'm actually not sure. I only take basic HD photos. How can I set up my selfie game without... How can I up my selfie game without like Lightroom and Photoshop? You don't need Lightroom and Photoshop. You just need a camera. Find a world with nice lighting. Do the peace sign, duck face, and then camera. VRCLens has a selfie option, which you can just like hit, and it'll put it right in front of your face and just follow you around, and you can do all cool, but you don't have to hold your arm out here like a selfie stick. I'm trying to lightning rush these questions because I only have 2 minutes left. Do any of the camera apps, or wait, let me make sure I didn't skip anyone. Why are all VRC photos so dark at every point you see in the headset? Is it due to camera or something else? That's a good question. It might be your own settings. It might be the same as the VRCLens, but all the photos I take seem to come out proper. You might want to make sure your headset's not too dark in a lighting setting somewhere. I know there's a setting in the headset. Just want to make sure it's not too dark or anything. For your showcase, thank you so much. What are some ways that motion blur can be incorporated into my photos? Is that available in VRCLens? So I don't know about motion blur. There's a stability setting. That's not really motion blur, but maybe there's a way to edit it into Premiere or Photoshop. I don't know. I've never worked with motion blur. That'd be kind of cool to figure out sometime, though. Do any of the camera apps for VRCLens? All right. Nope. Resolution. All right. I'm going to answer most of these questions after the panel once I get off the stage. Once again, I'd like to thank you all for coming. That is all the time I have for question and answering up here. Thank you all for coming so much. I appreciate it. This is my 3rd panel, and I'm so happy to see more and more people come to these. I'm really happy y'all like my work, and I can't wait to see all of your work. I love y'all's work. Please keep doing the work. This community is great. You should do more work and, get this community out there. Let people know we're here. It's fantastic. Thank you for coming. It means a lot to me. I hope y'all have a great Furality Aqua. It's been a fantastic convention. Enjoy the last day of it. Can't wait to see y'all around. Thanks for coming.